I can't think of a single Welsh community that doesn't have a piece of heritage, sometimes going back a very long way, sometimes perhaps more recent, that they cannot be proud of. And that, I think, is something important in terms of how we regenerate communities and how we work with people within those communities, particularly the young.
We are custodians, and we could be seen that we spend our life behind a counter serving tickets and souvenirs and guidebooks, but I don't think any custodian would be doing this job if they didn't have a passion for the monument.
Buildings like the Bishop's Palace in St David's are so important. There's so many of them in Wales, and they do reflect, they express the cultural achievements of Wales, they express the artistic and architectural achievements of Wales, and indeed they're an expression of the soul of Wales.
We're all used to the role of preservation and conservation that Cadw has had over the years, and that's important, that remains. But we're also, of course, now looking at the interpretation of Wales's built heritage in particular. That's why I think it's particularly important that young people interpret what those monuments mean for them and for the future of the place. This is not just about the history lesson, it's also about the potential for the future.
I think one of the things that Cadw's always been trying to do is interpret the monument, to bring the monument alive to visitors, and we can do that in numerous ways, but by trying to interpret the monuments through art is opening up a whole new way of looking at our sites and engaging with young people.
As a custodian, it's lovely seeing the castle full of people and full of laughter. It's how it should be. It should be full of voices and people and stories.
About 12, 18 months ago, I was presented with an idea for this show of Men of Harlech, for telling the story, the thousands of years of history here in Harlech Castle. And it was a history that was taught to me and then entrusted to me to bring alive in this castle, and that's what we've done tonight in a very exuberant, exciting and untraditional way.
The part that I was most involved in personally was a section about Owain Glyndŵr, and he was portrayed not much as a warrior but as a rock star, and I think that was a really clever idea because people tend to think that because Owain Glyndŵr is so far back it's not that important because things have changed a lot. Things have changed, but it was really heroic what he did.
Over the last 3 years, we've been working with community groups. We've set up the North Torfaen Youth Theatre, we've been developing a Celtic band in the North Torfaen area, we've been working with several schools and dance groups, and we've designed and created, together with artists, the industrial gamelan that you can hear in the background today.
I think Blaenavon showed us a particular example there of Wales's industrial heritage being embraced by local people and projected outwards. That's got to be good for Wales, and it's certainly good for the young people involved.
For Wales, I think this has been a summer of opportunity, and the partnership between Arts Council Wales and Cadw, I think, has been quite essential, has been core in our understanding that the way in which these three things, this trinity, comes together, and the trinity is heritage, creativity, and therefore legacy. What I think we've been able to do is to bring into play not just the use of those buildings, that if you like, infrastructure, but to actually involve people, to involve communities, with fantastic artistic projects which have lit up the sky, and I think in terms of young people, have allowed them to see that heritage that Cadw preserves in an entirely different light.
This was all a little seed in the imagination of an extraordinarily large group of people of all ages. And if everyone can go away from this thinking we can change the world, we can make things happen, then that will be a fantastic thing.
The castle has seen sieges, seen the abdication of kings, it's seen Celtic battles, it's seen the realisation of tribes, but it all happened on this rock, And if it hadn't been for this rock being a promontory out in the estuary, it wouldn't have been put here. So we know that strategically this is a very important place.
A project like this brings all 3 different counties together in North East Wales. So we've got a school from Flintshire, a school from Denbighshire, they're all from different areas. So I feel the project has brought them together and they've learnt lots of different skills. A number of them are going off to professional colleges, professional universities to study dance. So working in an environment like this, as you can see all the rocks, the stones and the floor, it's such a massive achievement to be able to bring a piece of dance to a place like this.
What the children have achieved over the 3 years in the different disciplines of drama, art and music, it's profound. And I think the legacy that they will take with them after this production will be one of remembering Flint Castle for what it is, for what it was, and hopefully what it will be in the future.
One of the concepts of not only the Cultural Olympiad, but really everything about what's happened here in the arts is bringing these historic buildings back to life. So they don't just look like a ruin to children, they look like a place to play, to breathe, and also remember the wonderful things that happened here before. And it's also the most wonderful thing for people who have born and raised here to remember how special this place is.
Many of us who got interested in heritage, we were taken to places like this as children, or took part in events like Cauldrons Furnaces, and that spark, that Damascus Road moment has actually given us a continuing appreciation of what places like this are about. And then, of course, the actual pilgrimage, because this place really depends on the fact that it was built to entertain distinguished pilgrims. And I suppose that journey isn't just a journey to a place, it's a journey of discovery. It's a journey of realization of what places like this mean and how they have a continuing meaning. And we need to be plugged into that.
Mae heddiw yma yn ben ar 4 blynedd o waith. Da ni wedi gweithio efo wahanol artistiaid, ysgolion, pobl ifanc, wahanol gynulleidfa. Mae'r gymuned i gyd wedi bod yn rhan. A fel mae heddiw wedi troi allan, mae wedi bod yn wych. Mae wedi bod yn fwy na sy'n wedi gallu disgwyl erioed. Mae wedi bod yn werth o, mae wedi bod yn waith anodd. Mae yna lot o waith wedi mynd i fewn dros y 4 blynedd dwytha. Cyfarfodydd, trafodaethau, dim wastad yn mynd ffordd werach oedden ni'n disgwyl bod. Da ni wedi gorfod newid, troi'n meddyliau, ailoddasu planiau. Ond ar y diwrnod, hyd yn oed heddiw yma ar y diwrnod, da ni wedi ailoddasu. Dibynnu ar y tywydd, ond heddiw yma mynd i bod yn braf a mynd i bod yn wych. So, ond benod ffantastig o wych i Gastell Caernarfon.
I think what was great about Cauldrons Furnaces and the whole events that took place here were they were out of the normal run of things that Cadw does with its monuments. What Cauldrons Furnaces did was to bring the castle alive, to root it in the community, to involve people in the heritage once more. And when I came here on the final Saturday to see the event, the whole place was buzzing, it was alive. And I think what was really good about it is that the organisers did their research. They explored stories about the area and about Larne itself. They looked back on old traditions, and then they got the current generation involved in that. So the castle was more than a venue. It was actually something that was part of the community that people could actually relate to.
Take the castles, Harlech, Caernarfon, Caerphilly, the castles of Wales, which of course were the bastions put onto the Welsh people by foreign invaders. And you know, they sit there sometimes, and I think younger people particularly, they look at them, but do they really belong to the town? Do they belong to them? What I think Cauldrons Furnaces did, and we hear young people say this over and over again, is they were given possession of the castles. Somehow they entered their lives, and they entered their lives in a catalytic way that made the castles dynamic. And it's that process that I think is taking forward this very happy marriage between arts and heritage. I mean, after all, there is no heritage ever without creativity. And equally, if creativity doesn't address our roots, then it doesn't show us the ways in which we go forward.
Over the 3-year period, we've had 26,000 young people who have been making films, producing events, writing plays, choreographing dance pieces. But then in a way even more powerful are those intangibles, where you see young people who have lacked confidence playing an integral part in these projects.
The word community arts really has a place within all of the communities across the UK and the world, and it's where arts should really start from. And it's projects like this that really inspire young people to go on to do more, to find pathways and to know who to speak to about doing more within the arts.
We talk a lot about inspiring a new generation, but the new generation always brings new energy and new feeling with it, which should be encouraged, but it's up to this generation to support that. And that's what I think we have with Cauldrons and Furnaces, the ability to do new creative things in very old spaces.
The legacy of the project is we've got a new audience, we've got a younger audience. We're able to reach out to people who didn't understand the sites on their doorstep, who now do. And I'd love to see us doing this again. We absolutely must do this again. It's hard work, it's tough, but it's so worthwhile. It's so worthwhile, and it's left us with a good feeling locally, I think.
I think what Cauldrons and Furnaces has shown is that we can reconnect local people to those pieces of built heritage so that they build up their pride, and pride of place particularly, but also looking to the future. We are looking at ways in which communities can do well by monuments like that being embedded in their midst.
Walking to school and the sun behind the castle is beautiful, and to think that the castle is there, and I've not really taken notice of it before, but then to think that that sunset, of the amount of people that have seen that before, is absolutely beautiful, whether they were prisoners or slaves in the castle. To think that I'm also seeing the same sunset that they must have seen centuries ago is absolutely astonishing.
For all of us involved, that building will no longer just be somewhere that we drive past or notice how tall it is or how high it is or how grey it is. I think that building will always have a place and a story and a legacy for those children to always remember that they were involved in something really big when the Olympics came to Great Britain.
Bob tro dwi'n mynd I basio Castell Harlech hyn ymlaen, dwi'n mynd I edrych yn ôl ar nosonau lle oedden ni gyd yn perfformio yr fath bwer ar mynd fewn i'r sioe, yr holl oleiadau, bob dim, y bobl oedd yn gwylio oedden nhw llawn o be oedden ni'n llawn o. A bob tro dwi'n pasio fo rwan, dwi'n eisiau mynd I feddwl a cofio am bob peth nathon ni.
Totally amazing in English, but in Welsh, arbennig.
The music was brilliant, and the children, oh, they're fantastic. I thought it was wonderful. It was absolutely brilliant, really enjoyed it, and the kids enjoyed it, not a dull moment all the way through it. Absolutely brilliant. It was a lovely performance, everyone seemed to enjoy it, all the children, everyone watching it was fantastic. Despite the weather, it was brilliant.
It's been a really great afternoon. Even with the weather, it hasn't spoilt it. We've had a great time and we've learned a lot. Thank you very much to everybody who took part.
It was very artistic and well acted, lots of children, and really good.
That was fantastic. Brilliant, exciting, especially because I was in it.
It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Thought everybody worked well. Brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was awesome, brilliant.
Really good.
Really good. Excellent. Come again.
This project's been amazing. We've had loads of new experience, gained lots of new skills, and it's just been like a pleasure to be a part of it really.